Good morning. Just a little walk around of the 85 Camaro here. I put up a couple of videos about a couple different mufflers I had put on it. Um, since then, I've also added a vibrant resonator bottle. And sorry about the angle view here, but it's kind of tucked in after the Y pipe there. Didn't really make much difference on this car. I put a larger one on the Firebird, and that actually did change the tone and I guess the resonance a little bit. This car is just was a V6 base coupe, and really doesn't have any options, as you can see by the rally wheels, which I actually kind of like. They're just 14-inch by 6, and I think they fit the image of the car. It's just basic black, few options, air conditioning, tilt wheel. I did add the instruments just so I was getting nervous not knowing what was going on. This thing is just a driveway paint job, and I wouldn't say it had been neglected, but it hadn't had any kind of cosmetic care or anything like that. Inside, the seats aren't actually in that bad a shape, but they do. I did want to put covers on them because they've got this kind of cool 80s fabric on them. Does need a headliner. Nobody can see it but me, so it doesn't bother me that much at this point. As far as the interior goes, see, it's about as basic as it gets in there. 85 mile an hour, 55 band era speedo, and the gas gauge, a couple idiot lights. And then I put in the cheapest of cheap radios, just a Walmart $25. But it's got more features than I know how to run, so it works fine. Car's in pretty good shape. It had some gravel road history, and it has either 64,000 or 164,000, depending on whether it's been around or not. And this had a V6 in it until a couple months ago, and then I had a spare 305 that I'd previously broken in the Firebird. When I put it in there, I did change cams. Hopefully it'll pick this up here. Put in a Summit. This is a roller motor. It's a 1989 T.P.I. era engine. I took the bracketry off of this 305 Vortec here, which I bought primarily for the heads, but it is a good roller block and it's nice and clean inside. Had some good usable accessories on it too, so that was a good find. The cylinder heads on this one are actually the 081s, which are the same as the 5-liter tune ports on the fuel injected cars, and then it's just the Edelbrock EPS intake, which I kind of just routed out the center hole so that the bolts would line up with the intake manifold bolt holes there. I didn't do anything to them. The guy I got them from said they were on his dad's boat, and when it was a Mercruiser, but the castings are 081s. Got a Edelbrock AVS 650 carb on top of that. I had the 600 on it before, and it was just kind of a little bulky and a little fussy. This one seems to idle a lot better and gives a little better power top end. But really, there's no tricks done to this thing at all. I have been through it. It's a 310, so it's got newer rotating assembly, and it does have ARP bolts in the bottom and a high volume pump, which it probably doesn't need. One thing I did upgrade on it, and I think is probably worthwhile, is these Hooker exhaust manifolds. They're quite a bit cleaner on the inside, and the outlets are much bigger than the stock ones or even the Vortec ones. And then those are going into 2.5-inch exhaust, like I said, with that vibrant resonator, and then a Magnaflow 2.5-inch exhaust or muffler. This thing was a multi-port fuel injected car, so it does have a tank in the pump, or a pump in the tank, and that's why it needs the bypass regulator there. So it's got serpentine belt drive. I did put a aluminum radiator, just a cheap one, $135 radiator from CarQuest Advance, and really no changes needed to do that. It's just a little bit wider. I put new shocks in it. I did not have to change the front springs for that. I was worried about the extra weight up front, and the stance is fine and the handling is fine. I thought it'd be kind of nose heavy afterwards, but it's not. So all those things combined to, I ran it to the track last weekend, and I was kind of startled to see this. There's the specs on the cam and the time slip on the quarter-mile run. The 14:35, 98.5. The draggy really closely corroborates that. They're off by just a couple thousandths and part of a mile an hour. It was about an ideal day. It was about 60 degrees, 300 and some foot density altitude. So slight quartering tailwind, so perfect conditions for drag race, super sticky track. This car does not have a posi in it. It does have a 342 gear, and just ran it on these tires, so no real prep or anything for it. It did stick on 2 of the 4 runs, so no problem there. And this car isn't meant to be fast. I've got a Firebird that's considerably faster and harsher for cornering and things like that. This is just a kind of a secondary daily driver, and it really gets pretty good mileage too. I'm getting between really 16 and 19 depending on what kind of mood I'm in. And so this is just a cheapo, you know, the only things that really cost money on here is the exhaust manifolds, probably the carb, and then the cam. Like I said, this was already a factory roller motor, and 305s are almost free in the marketplace or used junkyards. So I'll probably change these brackets. You can see that the air conditioner won't fit with those brackets on the front. The compressor would be too high for the hood. And even as it is with that, just a Summit plain Jane air cleaner, you can see it's leaving an imprint in the insulation there. But it works out okay. So I haven't started this today. It's about 55 degrees here, I'd say. So I'll just set you down and we'll see what starts. Some days it'll give you a little puff of valve guide smoke, some days not. Let's see what it does here. Alright, any questions or suggestions, things you see I should do different? Definitely the first speaking YouTube video, so I'm no expert at this at all. Just kind of doing it more for information. I know a lot of people, 305s are super common. And the engine swap wasn't too hard. Like I said, a radiator, motor mounts, moved brake lines a little bit. It's already have a 700 R4 in it. You can't use the one with the V6 with it. The bolt pattern's different. But the transmission I got off of Marketplace for